want to talk about ethical naturalism and the ought-is gap. Sturgeon in this book talks about it, but I just kind of want to think about what this ought-is gap is. We find this in Hume, and we find this in various meta-ethical as well as normative ethical writings. The ought-is gap is saying that there's a state of affairs of facts about how the world theoretically is. And then there are oughts within ethics. And the question of this ought-is gap, but there's a gap between them in that can we always infer oughts from the facts? Can we always infer oughts from what is? This is a very big and interesting problem within ethics. I made a video about this a long time ago, so I wouldn't go back to that. That's probably within my ethics playlist that has like 70 videos in it somewhere. But this is very important because for a naturalist, for an ethical naturalist, you have to figure out, no matter what kind of naturalist, no matter what kind of naturalist you are, you have to give a account as to how one can infer oughts from the facts. As a naturalist, you would believe that moral statements and moral judgments and ethical statements are scientifically investigatable and are natural, and there's a place of scientific investigation in them within the natural world, and that they're cognitively accessible also. So as a naturalist, you have to kind of bring a link between the is and the ought. You have to, if you are a naturalist, it is definitely true, whether you're realist, relativist, emotivist, classical, or logical naturalist. If you have the name naturalist attached to your ethical view, as well as various other kind of moral views that are not nihilist or anti-realist, you have to have a very indubitable account as to how you can infer oughts from what is. The way that you could do that is by given a certain circumstance, like let's say, you're walking in the hallway at school and someone drops their books and all their stuff everywhere, and nobody is helping them at all. Nobody is. So from this fact, can we infer a certain ought from that? Can we infer something that we should do or ought do from this? Naturalism has to come up with a certain account as to how we can infer a ought from this or any other kind of fact or state of affairs. And can we do this? Yeah. If you are a naturalist, you have a way of doing so. And I think that a lot of this ought-is gap kind of depends on what kind of theory you have. In consequentialism, you would only help them given a certain instrumental end being fulfilled, given your action of helping her or him. Given a deontological action, there is probably somewhere within your set of obligations that there's an intrinsic duty to help this person. Within virtue, there is a virtue that is supposedly building up within you of phronesis and arete, that means that given your character that you would have to not have to, because that implies duty, but that you would pretty much, given a certain virtue that is built up within you through phronesis and arete. And through these normative theories, you can kind of have your meta-ethical thought too. You can be a naturalist, but if you are a naturalist, you have to have some kind of connection between the is and the ought. the naturals would have to kind of figure this out, saying that, kind of. But then I think that this little odd is gap is connected to some kind of normative theory of your ethical code of code of conduct, or what you should do given any circumstance X. But then you have to still, as a naturalist, say or argue that there is a connection between the two. You don't as a naturalist within metaethics, you don't really have to specify what the connection is, or what the ought is. You have to say that through any given state of affairs or circumstances that you can infer from any fact a certain ought. Thanks. Let me know your thoughts.